Today, I'm going to give you an unbelievable 31 tips in only 16 minutes. There's something in here for everyone, so stay tuned to the end as I'm sure you'll pick up something new. But let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Potting long straight shots can be tricky, but I've got a neat little trick. Instead of aiming at the ball, aim the cue ball in the pocket instead. Works every time. I want to talk about how important the pause is in your last backswing. What I mean by that is you pull the cue back before you deliver it. You should stop for a second before you deliver that cue. It's really important as it gives all elements of your technique just a bit of a chance to settle before the vital point. When you want to play a skill shot, and what I mean by that is you want to pop both the red and the yellow here, a good little tip is to put a little bit of bottom on the cue ball. A lot of people do this already, but the most important tip is to get the pace right. When you hit a shot hard, the ball skids before it starts rotating. So almost the softer you can hit this shot, the more the yellow ball is going to rotate, and that makes the shot a lot easier. 2 tips for you now on the cut break. If you find when you hit it, the cue ball jumps off the table, what you want to do is hit the cue ball just below centre ball, and that will stop it jumping once it hits it. And also, if you aim to try and pot this ball in that pocket, then it ends up heading towards here. These 2 balls hit off that cushion and head towards there. So you've got a good chance of potting in that middle pocket. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give you when playing pool is to keep your cue straight and deliver it through in a straight line. I actually got asked in the channel if I recommend backhand English. And what the person means by that is that you line up to the shot and then you use your backhand, move it out or in, to put side spin on the ball. Would I recommend that? No. When you're playing pool, if you've got a straight forearm like this, well, what to do is curve it slightly instead, so your elbow's coming out the way. Now what that does is it moves your head closer to the ball, which makes the shot easier. So that's straight, that's curved. Now I can see much more of the pot. I want to show you the benefit of keeping a loose grip on your backhand. Watch a shot with a tight grip. Not bad. Let's try and hit this about the same power, but get a nice loose grip this time. Much better. When you're lining up on a shot, a lot of people put the cue right under the middle of their chin. Now this isn't actually the best place to cue from. What you want to do is find your centre of vision. And to do that, place the cue directly over the ball clay, and then put your head on the cue and move it until the cue looks exactly over the baulk line. Now what you'll find is that this position tends to be halfway between your nose and your dominant eye. If you play from here, then you'll pot a lot more shots. When it comes to putting spin on the ball, the most that you ever want to put is about 3/4 of the way around the cue ball. So what I mean by that is if you're putting top spin on it, you hit about 3/4 of the way up the top of the cue ball. Back spin, it's about 3/4 of the way down. Left spin, about 3/4 to the left. And you guess it, 3/4 to the right for right spin. That's about as much as you're ever going to be able to put on it without miscuing. You can obviously put less on it and you'll get less spin. But that's where you want to hit. We get a lot of spin with the ball. Do you know the ghost ball method of aiming that everyone's talking about? Don't use it. It's rubbish. It doesn't work on thin cuts, and it doesn't work when you play side. Just do it the old-fashioned way. Look at the potting angle, stay back from the table, walk round to your cue ball, keep an eye on the potting angle, and hit it. It's easy. But you know, if you can't get enough side on the bob to get out of a snooker, then you can generate more side by hitting the cue ball in the bottom as well as on the side. Just like that. When it comes to doubles and bank shots, the straighter you can hit the ball, the easier the shot is. For example, that was an easier shot than if the cue ball was here. So if the cue ball's here, you would normally try and hit that side of the ball and try and manipulate the angle. But if you can hit it straighter, then it's going to be easier. Now, I know what you're thinking. If I hit that straight, I'm going to miss it there. So what to do is, if we know that we're going to miss it on that side, we can use side to manipulate it into the pocket. We want it to go to the right, so we put left-hand side on the cue ball. And that way we can still hit it straight and make the pot. Here's a cool little trick for doubles and bank shots. It's called the outside edge system. Let's say we want to double that ball into here. We need to work out where we need to contact that cushion. Well, you can use the outside edge of the object ball. If we take our cue to there and then extend it to the cushion, that's the point that we want to aim for. So if we aim for that point, then we can make the double. Let's stick with doubles and bank shots. If I hit this straight, I miss it. If I hit on the right-hand side to try and manipulate it into the pocket, I get a double kiss. What I can do is I can straighten it up off the cushion by hitting it harder. Hitting it harder will push the ball into the cushion and it will straighten. Just like that. I'm going to demonstrate a plant that a lot of people get wrong. It's called the reverse plant. I've lined up two different plants here and they're both aimed at this knuckle here. So we need to contact the first ball in a way that makes contact with the second ball to pot it. So this first one, there's a little bit of a gap here. So what I'm going to do is I'll contact the yellow ball about there, which should make that second one go into the pocket. Just like that. Now, this second one is also lined up at that knuckle, but the balls are touching. So instead of contacting the yellow ball there, we contact it from the other side because the balls are going to squeeze together and we can make the pot. Bonus. Do you know how to play this shot? I get asked about that quite a lot, asking what kind of spin I'm putting on the ball because it's hitting off there, it's hitting here, it's changing direction, it's doing all loads of things. But the answer is, it's just topspin. Just think about it. Putting topspin on that, it's making the white ball want to go that way. So when it hits that second cushion, it's still spinning that way. Now it wants to head back towards the black. Which ball do you want to get on after you bring the 8-ball out? If you want to get on that one, play left-hand spin. If you want to get on that one, play right-hand spin. What you want to do on every shot is try and keep your cue as level as possible. It's probably quite easy to do when you're hitting centre ball, but when you hit topspin, you don't want to do that. You want to bring your cue up, but keep it level. Now, what a lot of people do on backspin is they raise the butt of their cue to dig down on it. Now, you're going to have to do that slightly, but try and keep it as level as possible. So you want to flatten your bridge hand. Just like that. I know when you play a hard shot or you want to get a lot of screw back, it can be really tempting to go fast and try and hit it really hard. What actually works better is on your very last backswing, just take it nice and slow. Slow everything down, helps with your timing, helps you hit the shot nice and slow. Look how smooth that was. Do you know how to play a really soft, delicate shot like this? For instance, to try and get a snooker. What to do is bring your bridge hand right up to the ball, bring this hand further down the cue so it shortens it, you've got more control over the cue, and just tiny little feathers. Perfect. To swerve the ball, you want to hit about 3/4 of the way over to either side. You want to get your bridge hand really close to the cue ball, jack your cue up to about a 45-degree angle, and you're striking down on the ball on the side, and there we go. If your cue ball is on the cushion, the shot can be a little bit tricky. But what to do is, you want to get your hand as flat as possible. You want to lift your backhand up slightly, so there's less chance of miscuing. And if you normally hold your cue here, bring your hand further down. This gives you a lot more control over the cue, and that's the most important tip. Do you know how to pot that red ball in that pocket? A lot of people will walk around that end of the table and they'll look to try and hit the yellow ball quite thin and soft to give it as much chance as possible. To give yourself a much bigger margin of error, try and hit the yellow ball full and hit it hard. Have you ever come across a shot like this where you can't quite hit enough of the potting angle? If we hit what we can see, the yellow ball will hit about there. Some people will try to swerve that to pot it. Some people will play safe. The best option is to put spin on it. What we need to do is we're going to hit this too thin on the right. So we put left-hand spin on the cue ball. Now I know what you're thinking, left-hand spin will make the cue ball divert to the right. But because the cue ball is spinning like that, when it hits the object ball, it throws it off to the right. So now we can make this shot. I now want to show you one of the most underrated skills in pool, which is close cue ball control. Let's look at this scenario here. We've got 3 balls, all easily potable. Let's see if we can pot them in order, all in that middle pocket. Oh, how'd I get on that one now? You see how difficult I made that because my first shot I had poor cue ball control. Let's look at it a different way. Now, what we want to do is pot this one and bring the cue ball down to about here so that we can pot that one and then move it down that way. It looks simple, but that first shot is quite a precise little positional shot. To make it a lot easier, bring this hand closer to the cue ball, this hand further down the cue. It gives you a lot more control. Do you know these tricky shots to pot where you're bridging over another ball? Instead of going like that and try to pot it, what to do is aim first. Find the aim in, find the potting angle, and then move your bridge without moving your aim in and pot it. I want to show you a drag shot here. What we want to do is we want to pot this ball in that pocket and get positioned on the red into there. Now what you can do is try and judge the pace by hitting it really soft so that you get the thin cut on that and the cue ball travels up the way. Now that's quite a tricky shot to get the haste right. And when you hit it that soft, the cue ball can roll off. Fortunately, we've done it there, it rolled quite well. An alternative is to put a bit of drag on it. So what we do with that is that we hit the cue ball as if we're hitting a backspin shot, but we don't hit it as hard. So what happens is the cue ball starts fast and it's rotating that way. Then that rotation will wear off and it'll slow right down, meaning that there's less chance of the ball rolling off and it's a bit easier to judge a pace. I now want to demonstrate how to play a stun run-through shot. Say you're faced with something like this where you want to pot your red and get on that red. You need to get the cue ball past the yellow to get on it. And what you can do is play a topspin shot soft. And the ball will ride through. But sometimes you don't want to hit the ball soft because you're worried that it will roll off, or you just want to hit it with a bit more purpose. To do that, you can play a stun run through. Now, in UK pool, the cue ball is smaller than the object ball, so we actually have to hit it with the tiniest bit of topspin rather than stun. So I'm going to cue this just a fraction of centre ball, and there we go. It's a stun run through. Now, if you're playing any other variation of pool where the cue ball is the same size of the object ball, then you actually want to hit it just below centre. Just like that. Let's say you're on your last ball and you want to get down to the 8 ball. You're going to have to play a screw back shot here. If you do that, you're not really getting on it. So, you need to play it with side. Now, you want the cue ball to spin to the left after playing with side. So, you might think that you put left-hand side on the shot. If we do that, it checks off the cushion. What we need to do is play what's known as a reverse side shot. So we're going to put right-hand side on this. So when it hits that, hits off the cushion, it'll spin down to the left. Just like that. Have you ever heard anyone talk about timing in pool and snooker and wondered what it actually meant? Well, all it is is contacting the cue ball at the point that your cue is at its maximum acceleration. If you think about when you push it through, it's gradually picking up speed. You want it to hit the cue ball at the maximum speed, and then as you push through, it decelerates. Now, to help with that timing, a really important part is to get this elbow in an almost 90-degree position when you're on your shot. I see a lot of people do this. Now, what that means is when they contact the cue ball, they're not at their maximum acceleration. If you've got your hand too far down, then you've already gone past maximum acceleration by the time you hit it. So you want that 90 degrees. This last tip is a bit of an exhibition shot. Do you know how to play this? Well, if you don't, then you'll want to check out this video now to find out how to do it as well as some other cool tricks.